If I'm live, that's great. I'm going to check it out. I wanted to talk tonight. I did a little bit of uh you know, thinking about this topic, and I thought I'm going to do a post-mortem of, from my point of view, obviously, because it's my channel, and talk about the comments and what they mean from that video the other day. But what I want to do though is I'm just trying to make sure that this is working because it hasn't told me it's going live. Okay, now it is. Cool, very cool. So welcome anybody that joins me, and I'm going to start out with this marketplace, the marketplace of ideas, because when I thought about this, and I wasn't instrumental in this. I just really dig different ideas. I really like reading all kinds of people's thoughts on situations and just about everything. I get inspired even when I don't agree. But I wanted to talk a little about the marketplace of ideas and then segue into something I found, and then we'll go on. So in Wikipedia, now those of you who understand the marketplace of ideas are probably from college or high school, but it takes on a little bit of a different meaning these days. And it's the rationale for freedom of expression based on an analogy to the economic concept of a free market. The marketplace of ideas holds the truth that the truth will emerge from the competition of ideas in free, transparent, public discourse, and concludes that ideas and ideologies will be culled according to their superiority or inferiority and widespread acceptance among the population. It's often applied to discussions of freedom of the press and the responsibilities of media in a liberal democracy. Okay, so this little tiny YouTube channel is, I suppose, a freedom of expression channel, as long as we can do it. I like a marketplace of ideas, but in a different way than what I'm going to read you, because um, the general idea is that free speech should be tolerated because it will lead towards the truth. And that has a long history. English poet John Milton suggested that restricting speech was not necessary because in a free and open encounter, truth will prevail. Thomas Jefferson argued that it is safe to tolerate error of opinion where reason is left free to combat it. Frederick Siebert echoed the idea that free expression is self-correcting in four theories of the press. But what I did find was something pretty interesting, a bit of research. And it kind of contradicted my, oh my gosh, open free marketplace of ideas. This is from 1984. And it was an article called The Marketplace of Ideas, a Legitimizing Myth. And author was Stanley Ingber. Here's the abstract. I'm not going to read of course, it's 37 pages or whatever. And so theorists often heralded the First Amendment as creating a neutral marketplace of ideas. Proponents of the moral view view the market as essential to our society's efforts to discover truth and foster effective popular participation in government. Professor Ingber asserts that the theoretical underpinnings of this model are based on assumptions of rational decision making that are implausible in modern society. He insists that in reality, the market is severely skewed in favor of an entrenched power structure and ideology. Professor Ingber explores efforts to reform and correct this market defect and finds them equally flawed. He concludes that the marketplace may fulfill its alleged functions only if we explore a theory of freedom of conduct. The market as it exists today simply fine tunes differences among elites, while diffusing pressure for change by preserving a myth of personal autonomy needed to legitimate a governing system strongly biased towards the status quo. Pretty good piece of research. So when I'm sitting there thinking about my little channel and hooking up to have this marketplace of ideas, I suppose it's not quite like the marketplace of ideas that we're going to read about or people are going to learn about in college. My marketplace of ideas is bringing voices, thoughts, concepts, people, ideas, things that I find on my little 0.0000005% of who may ever look at this. And I will say hi to you guys. But really, and to do that freely, if I do agree or don't agree. And you know what? Agreeing with someone you find that you listen to, it's an evolutionary process. It takes time. You have to see what they're about. You have to listen. You have to read. Just like all of these people, Chris Hedges. I look at this guy that came in and dropped in and from whatever and from a boat in Greece. Lord, he was compelling. He's compelling and interesting. Do I agree with him 100%? No. Do I agree with anyone 100%? No. It's hard to. There's a lot of things out there, but all these things come together and give you a worldview that you can work within your parameters. So I do want to do a little bit of a post-mortem on that panel discussion, which I actually loved. And I'm going to say hi first. Kim's here and Adam's here. And hi, Chris, Natural Progressive. Osama's here. This is really cool. This is cool. So, and I know Chris thinks like I do about bringing out these different people and these ideas, no matter how controversial they are. And sometimes I admit I get excited over things that maybe I haven't thought all the way through, but it's just that at this time we are living in the worst times, the best times. We're living through historical times, and we're living through what I don't think any humans have ever seen before. But we don't know, of course, about way back in the day. Anyway, Osama says I look shiny tonight. Okay, thanks. Listen, so I did enjoy it, I enjoyed everyone on the panel, and the topic of a debt jubilee is basically collapsing the economy because we have a climate emergency, or working with groups all over the world that have a common theme, but it goes further than that on Lord Yu's ideas. I mean, his ideas are definitely newer to me. I'm learning. He talks about the to force the leaders and their corporate masters to heal, to heal. That's radical action that XR wants to do. But he says I think the bull will actually shorten what time we have left because it's bound to involve more GHG emissions. He's talking about the Green New Deal, and he's talking about the way the political ball is rolling. I understand. I get his drift at the fact that he doesn't like either side of the spectrum's policies, and I suppose it's anarchism in a way. That I think that's what he said, and I like listening and reading about these concepts, and I'm going to admit it. I've never been involved in some of the depth of these kind of conversations in my life. I've been on this trajectory, and probably some of you haven't either. And that is what the whole point is about bringing the discussion to the table. Even if it is overwhelming or sounds like a stupid idea or is or some people would say, how can you possibly say that or agree with that or think of that? I don't care really. I've come to the um, conclusion for me personally on this little channel, my show, I don't care about thumbs up. I don't care about thumbs down. I don't care what people think of me. I care what people think of what we're talking about. I care that we are destroying the planet. I know that we are in a global climate emergency. So, was it so out of ordinary to have someone with such a radical viewpoint of how to get out of what we're in, which most of us already know probably is not possible? No, it wasn't a bad thing to do. Nothing's a bad thing to do. So I'm going to Hoople's cat. Hi. Can we vote ourselves out of the climate failure? I'm a pessimist, but worth a try. Exactly. Of course it's worth a try. We're in this paradigm. If, those of us that are in this paradigm, I should say, because of course not everybody is. There's people all over the place. What I want to do is I want to read a couple of comments that I got on my channel when I put the video up. But before I do that, I want to go back to this particular one. Oh God, I gotta find it. It was really good. And this guy, he writes, oh shit, if I don't find it, I'm really gonna be upset. It may not be where I want it. But you know what? You guys talk, because I'm gonna find this. I had it, and I really liked this one guy's comment because it was totally telling us we're all full of shit, essentially. But what do you guys think? I know you're out there talking. I know you're out there having a little chat. While I'm sitting here looking up this one comment that I now can't. Oh, here it is. All right. So, again, we had the discussion, but I'm reading you this one. This discussion was an absolute waste of time. Not one of them, except Hambone, who's made a healthy lifestyle choice, would be willing to put their neck on the line until some collective shows up. Typical liberal playground mentality. A whole lot of nothing but hot air because they're more in fear of short-term dire financial consequences than they are mid to long-term dire ecological consequences. Typical human kicking the can mentality. And to top it all off, on the one hand, spouting off that we need to stop paying lip service to institutions, yet saying that, well, it's certainly not going to be them, meaning us, leading by example. Pathetic, unsurprising, and perfectly fitting for a dazed and confused species lacking any passion for action. And somebody said, geez, do you have a link to the very different video you've been watching? And the person said, act now over a babbling brook of cowardice. Okay, I'm just going to answer what that person said. Everybody talked. Some were not, it's a heavy thing when you're talking about a topic like toppling the world's economic structures by a debt jubilee, by getting, how do you get millions of people involved? But anyway, that's beside the point. I understand what this person was saying, but I don't agree with that person because everybody's situation is different, and I'm not defending anyone. I'm just saying, hey, that's fine that you think we're all a bunch of debt freaks and economic pussies and that we're afraid to do that. Do you know what circumstance anybody's in? No. that there was we were a panel discussion, not saying that we were going to make a decision that night on, oh my god, let's collapse the world. But I read it because I thought, hey, this person, that's how they felt. That is exactly how they felt, and I respected the opinion, although they don't know what any of us goes through or what anybody feels. And far be it from me, because I'm not going to defend myself to anybody. Goddamn hell will freeze over before I do that. No way. So I'm going to go then off that, and I'm going to go to a couple of the comments on my channel. And okay, so one comment said about this, talking about this, means to what end? Creating chaos sooner rather than later is of what benefit? Halting CO2 emissions will have what effect on the overall outcome? Seems to me this is a conversation expressing difficulty with acceptance of what is inevitable. I have the same problem with Extinction Rebellion. Movements will fizzle out because there is no remedy. The science says this is a terminal predicament. Time to accept death with dignity. See, now that's one way of looking at it, but if we're already there, then if there are last ditch efforts by people that truly believe that what they are going to do or what they want to do is significant, what's the problem? What's the problem, right? And this one was a good one. If the economy collapses, we lose the global dimming effect, and the temperature rises 1 degree C. Days or weeks, and we are all finished. Kind of like pulling the trigger on a loaded gun pointed at your head. So a lot of people said that, well, why do we want to do that? Or not we. I'm not even going to say we. It's not we, because I was on a panel and I moderated. I'm not sure. Like I said before, when that other guy made his comment about the fact that we're all a bunch of babies, pussies, we can't put our financial necks on the line. My financial neck sucks. And it's funny, but I'm just, I digress. So, talking about the fact that, okay, so what would that do? It would hasten collapse, it would make it happen faster. We don't know. But it's an idea, folks. It's a discussion amongst the many, many, many other discussions out there that people are having. And I'm glad that people are having these discussions. Now, I see that you guys in the chat are talking about the other kinds of chats, flat earthers and climate change deniers. Listen, if you go over to those channels, and I watch and I see, it's frightening sometimes. The marketplace of ideas is a frightening place in YouTube, because it astounds me how unscientific people are in their thinking, how they completely don't understand science anymore. But I'm not going to get there. Their ideas, and I suppose that's, they have the right to be heard. Hi, Adam. Osama says climate change deniers are much more dangerous than flat earth idiots. Well, I do kind of agree with that. Financial neck, I'd worry more about your actual neck. Hi, Vegematics with us. Yeah, my actual neck, which is, I'm probably going to have, he's going to have to go in. I mean, I am struggling. I'm going to collapse my frickin' self. He's going to have to go in and probably fuse the bottom, because I can't hold my neck up all the time. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I had a whole thing here. So I read some comments, and I wanted to do that post-mortem. Oh, I have another good one. Rosemary Hill. Okay, this is good. You'll like this. That's the spirit, Lord Dumbass. The spirit of evil that has destroyed this planet. Carry on with those who have the same spirit. Lead them on with banners flying. Good show. Bravo. Yuck. Okay. So, Rosemary, I'll answer you directly. Lord Dumbass is not carrying a banner that anybody is specifically following. Lord Hugh is just a person who has ideas, okay? He's not David Koresh, and he's not anybody different than all of us who have an idea out there. And if somebody picks up on it, fine. You don't like it because you said we have the same spirit. What's the same spirit? What is the same spirit? I just wonder. Is that the spirit that we didn't want, or we would love to say, oh, we don't want this planet to just crumble and collapse? I mean, it's already happening. I just would have liked to know what the same spirit meant. Bravo, yuck. Oh, here, actually, this was pretty good. Sorry, I guess I'm not one of the cool kids, but it won't work. The amount of money we use is dwarfed by the amount of money circulated. For instance, the daily transactions for Interac are over $1 trillion daily. So individuals planning financial suicide will be ameliorated by instruments on national security, plunge protection teams, etc. And seriously, don't kid yourself. It is a matter of national global security. At best, the threat of it is more powerful than the results, and the idea carries weight in that it coalesces public momentum. Let's not ever forget that if you and I can come to this conclusion about global warming, so can the people that killed 3,000 people on 9/11. The earth is burning. Get ready. Now, you see, I thought that was a good comment. This is what I espouse to have. Good commentary, good discussion, but thought out discussion. Whether or not it's contrary, it's agreeable, whatever. It's just not rude and ignorant. I don't like rude and ignorant. I thought I liked it. And I think I pretty much did write back about feedback, and thank you for the feedback. And the person said, here's a very good example. It's really short, and the speaker, John Williams, is honest and speaks well. So John Williams, the tanking economy. Oh, the economy is tanking. So it's at John Williams at shadowstats.com. So there's always something different, always something somebody's sharing, which is cool. And Richard Wood said, well, what's after this collapse? Days, weeks, or years? Don't see where the idea goes. That's exactly what it is, though. It's an idea. And on the Reddit that we had put up, and again, I am not sitting here telling y'all what to do. I'm giving you information to make up ideas on your own. I'm never going to sit here and say to you, any of you that follow, any of you that are watching, any of you out there in anywhere, you should do this, you should do that, whatever. Bringing on people that have viewpoints, and I've had different viewpoints on during the election when I interviewed all kinds of progressive candidates that had their ideas. This is what it's about. This is what it's about for me. I'm not going to ever tell you. Never going to tell you. But this whole thing is a huge proposal, and it's in that collapse Reddit, and a lot of people are feeling excited, and that's great. So if I could be a part of something that was able, from my little house here where I don't really go out much, and I was able to articulate something that other people want to look at and follow, that's okay. It wasn't something that could be implemented overnight. It is not something a lot of people are even interested in. I'm sure they're not. So I just there's a whole proposal, but of course my whole thing, oh, I don't know, I think something was removed, but oh, whatever. There's a million things to talk about. But that's what I wanted to go on. Do a little postmortem, read a couple of comments, kind of say what I feel, what I'm about, and that I honestly really don't care. you know, and also I will tell another thing. Criticism, critique, if it's done right, is great. And I've had plenty of it given to me over the time I've been doing this. And I've learned from it. As long as it's not ugly or vicious, if it's constructive, why wouldn't I take it? There's a whole world of people out there. I may bring up a topic and we may have discussion. But you're goddamn right that every time this happens, I've learned something new. And lifelong learning is what I have left. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Oh, Valhalla wants to talk about the International Climate Court. Well, how long have I been on? I certainly do not want to. Well, I've been on for a while. I will. Actually, today, Val, I was on a live stream earlier. I did go out a little bit today, but I was on a live stream and I did bring that up. I put that because people were saying, well, it was going in that direction. So the discussion is happening, Val, and it could be partly because you say it on all these venues. Nuremberg style trials. It's when and where and how. We bring it up here, but who's got sovereignty over the trials? Is it UN? Is it, I mean, right now we are in an entrenched world of fossil fuels. Will that even be allowed to happen? Will the elites in charge of all of this allow it to happen? And if we see that it could, how does it happen? So we bring up a lot of questions. Val, you've been formulating this for a long time. Perhaps you want to join me or one of the, one of our sister. I mean, we're now becoming this community, and it's great to talk about this. And Val says it could be mock trials, which could just show the world just what was going on, but not official, because really the powers are going to squash that, you know. Look, we're going towards this in the United States. I mean, the White House just revoked the free press. I don't know, 27 different reporters, they're closing down. We're going towards something pretty ugly in the United States. A trial by people wearing hoods, Val says. So an anonymous trial where what? We hold all of these individuals, or do we hold the corporations responsible in absentia to make the point? So we do, here's another idea. Okay, so we don't do a debt jubilee, or someone else does a debt jubilee, and then someone else picks up a worldwide mock trial, worldwide Nuremberg style mock trials, and it becomes a whole movement. And it's a way of bringing, again, the crimes of the past that have led us to the current, to the people, even if we can't do anything about the predicament we're in. What do you think, Val? Is that what you're talking about? Harley, hey, Harley, Kana, I haven't seen you in a while. You've already long accepted that nothing's going to change. You don't get worked up when nothing does. You don't get, yeah. Well, I don't know what worked up is. I mean, I get excited. I don't know about worked up necessarily. It's nice to see you here. Hey, Foss, it's nice to see you too. I couldn't talk earlier. But so Val says all of this. All right, so that was Human wants to be the court jester. Well, listen, I like a lot of the ideas. I like a lot of things I hear because it's all from passion. That's another thing. In this community, it's from passion. Lightning says Trump knows about climate change, has begun building bulwarks for his golf courses. These are very evil people who are psychopathic. They're psychopaths. That's what Lord you called them. I bring his name up again, but that's what he called them. The psychopaths, and they're always attracted to being leaders and being, or well, we want to call them leaders or do we want to call them dictators? Foss says the totalitarian regimes of this day and age will put a full stop to any accountability. Unfortunate but true. But do we, as a collective, become or go into ostrich mode? Do we say, hey, none of these things is worth even a shot to look at? XR, Debt Jubilee, Sunrise Movement, any of them. And do we buy into the narratives? Because there's a lot of narratives around out there. There are the very jaded, but could be true narrative that some people push, some people support, some people educate in, like Cory Morningstar, and you to some extent, that this whole thing is just another corporate grab and greenwashing. And of course, I give it consideration because it seems to me that that's how humanity has been throughout history. So now it's just corporations wanting to greenwash us. Uh, but I won't go as far as saying that Greta, anything bad about Greta, or even anything bad about anybody making some effort. Val says, so why don't prosecute the mass murderers who's killing us? Vegematic corporations could receive the death penalty. As for the rich parasites who control them, just take all their money away and make them live on welfare, which is actually what the debt jubilee would be talking about, but it would be us. It would be a million people if you could rally up a million people. Can you rally up a million people anywhere? But I see where they rally up a million people every day on YouTube when that inane shit pops up that 3 or 4 million people are watching some kid talk about her eyeshadow or her makeup. WASF. Val says, are we going to let the mass murderers get away with this extinction of all life? See, that it's true. You know, you really, are we? And what can I do? I sit here with big ideas and not the physical stamina to do them. And that's why I have this. I have a mouth and a little channel and a community like everybody else. Osama says you can't deal with growth junkies and prosperity crackheads. But remember, this is not about identity. We're all level in this playing field here. Well, anyway, Human says, I heard a song made today. It was beautiful during the march. Could we do the same? Oh, you want to have a song? Let's do a song. Hey, hi, Robin, who's with us. And Robin says, Robin Kingston saw a great doc on the Solomon Islands. Their island atolls are disappearing due to the sea level rise and global warming. Yes, that's been happening for a while. I actually did something a couple of years ago on that. Who knows if I even have that? I don't even know where that video is. Okay, Foss says, I think action is great. I just don't see that enough mobilization is going to occur to threaten the power of the elites all over the world. It is stronger than it's ever been. The power. Maybe because of this media, maybe because of all the voices that I espouse to have the freedom to listen to. Not every country has this. I don't know how long we'll have it. Chris says I'm doing something. Yeah, my little bit of something. Talking. Well, anyway, Human says, could poetry save the planet? Go to the Poetry of Predicament, Dean Walker's channel. I put up a meditation this morning on Environmental Coffee House Facebook page that I found was just lovely. 15 minutes of cleansing, deep thinking music. It was lovely. And I want to mention one other person I forgot about. The Pink Barrio. Do you guys watch the Pink Barrio? He made a video, and I think it might have been, was it yesterday? And I don't know why. I was walking around with the stupid phone. I pushed on it to look at something, and it pops up. So he starts talking. I said, well, I'm going to listen to this. What does he talk about? He's talking about CO2, and then he starts talking about the panel on my channel and how fantastic it was. But he gave me the credit. The credit was not mine. All I have is a mouth, and I know how to be a mediator. You know, actually, I mediated a lot of employment disputes, but for a long time. But that was Torstein Vidal, who managed to pull together 6 people through 6 time zones, and Jennifer Hines, who did the whole, put it all together. So really, it wasn't me. I had an idea. We had ideas together, but it wasn't me. But Pink, I just want to say, if you're watching or you watch this, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because even though I say, hey, I actually don't give a shit what anybody thinks, because I'm at that point in life. Maybe a little smidge I do. I don't want, and if I'm going to be commented on, I do want it to be valid. But he was a support, and it was really great. Thank you so much for that. That's my shout out to the Pink Barrio. And he makes really nice videos, and he's been doing this for a long time. I'd say, let's see, I found one today he had from 2012. He's been talking about this, and he has his little graphs, and he has his nice video, and he has a nice voice from San Francisco. Hi, Anita. Anita's listening. Oh, she was watching a live stream for 90 minutes. My God, do you need a cigarette and a drink? Harley said the motivation's not there. People still laugh when you talk about extinction or collapse. Unfortunately, yeah. I saw a weatherman today on mainstream media this morning. I flicked through, and it's an example of what we're up against. He was showing the jet stream, and he was talking about the awful weather, snow in places where people are going skiing where they shouldn't be, the horrible weather that's coming out. And he showed the jet stream, and he just was about to say something important, something meaningful, something not stupid. And he cut himself off and then just talked about some storms that was it. Boom. And that's what the big problem is. He probably thought he'd lose his job if he even talked about why the jet stream looked like it was. And hi, David Henderson from Australia. It's nice to see you too. Oh, Reggie says the Pink Barrio's been dealing with censorship. I don't really know. He says it, he has his subs, but I don't know. Why do they censor him and not me? Maybe we're all being censored, because I know that, and again, I don't get hung up on any of this crap, but I know that there were videos I made a couple of years ago, where there was thousands of people that actually viewed it, and now it's not. But the important people are here. So, and the important people comment, and it's not even important in the sense of a world, people that mean something to me. And that's the whole thing, I just don't want to be talking in an echo chamber, though. I do hope that little by little, we do get out the message. And I believe that we have, and that people do need to understand that we can't live business as usual, and that all these different ideas on how to mitigate, change, stop, maybe not, live with, adapt, whatever, are all worthy of discussion. So on that night, I'm going to say goodnight. Wait a minute. Phosphorus says there is one thing that would crash the system in days. Have everyone for a couple of days not work, not shop, and not buy a damn thing. The system would take notice and grind to a halt. Similar to Kevin's talk on there, he was talking about boycotts, actually. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to let y'all go, although you're having a great time in this comment section. I can't even keep up with it. This is great. Yeah, David, it's nice to see you. Natural progressive. Damn it, Sandy, I made me burn dinner. We went out. Mother's Day, I didn't even see my kid, but it's okay. I'm gonna see her Wednesday. We're having a say goodbye to Sage night. Her 17-year-old cat. She lost her Rottweiler, now she's losing the cat. See, everything comes to an end. Maybe that person that made that comment about just accepting it isn't wrong, and I never said he was. So listen, guys. Good night. This is great. Look at this. Anita says, honestly, to make the powers that be notice, we need to get some celebrities talking about the climate crisis. Who else is aware that the planet is in trouble other than Leo DiCaprio? I like to say that. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get like a Kim Kardashian? Because boy, does she reach the clueless moron contingency. Somebody kidnap her and brainwash her. I love you all. Thank you, Richard, for being here, and Foss and Chris and Osama and Veg and David and Anita and Val and let's see, Robin and Harley. It was great to see you. It's been a long time. Human, good. Thanks. I'm glad that our community is getting bigger. Two little plugs. Tomorrow night on Facebook, Warren Whistler's going to be back with me. He from Tampa, XR. He loved the panel discussion. So I'm interested in how he is developing and changing his ideas and thoughts and processes through what he's done through the week of action. Interesting to see someone else's experience and feel and understand them unfold. And then Thursday night, right here on YouTube, Antonio Reed, not me, Antonio, will be here having a discussion with everyone. And that will be, I believe, I think it's 8 o'clock Eastern, but I'll put a notification up. I'm going to be the Oz behind the screen. And that's a shout out to Oz. I have not a clue what I'm doing. It should be fun. I have to get him in on Skype and get this working properly, but it'll be a test. And if you could all come to support Antonio, he is amazing. I love the kid, and I'm really proud of him. Good night, everybody. You guys have a great, great night. And thanks for the happy Mother's Day. And again, I need to figure out how to say goodbye on eCam Live. All right, guys. End the live session. There you go. Peace. Thanks for coming.